Αχέρον ποταμός. Οι πρώτες πηγές προέρχονται από τα χιόνια του όρου Στόμαρος στον ομό Ιωαννίνων. Οι άλλες πηγές του προέρχονται από τα όρη Σουλίου και τα όρη Παραμυθιάς Θεσπρωτείας. Ο Αχέρον εκβάλλει στο Ιόνιο Πέλαγος, στο χωριό Αμμουδιά της Πρέβεζας, όπου σχηματίζει δέλτα, από το οποίο διαμορφώνονται τα δύο κύρια έλλη της περιοχής.
So we're beginning our river trek from this position here, which is basically straight from the car. And again, a number of reviews that we was reading saying we don't really need to hire a guide, as the river's quite shallow, very pleasant experience, easily walkable, and it is at this point a very pleasant experience for a nice little stroll. However, our objective on this was to reach the source of the river, and for that we definitely needed a guide. Even at this point now, we've still got a few tourists who are progressing this far, but as you'll see, as we get further and further up the river, the tourists become fewer and fewer and fewer. The river itself is littered with fish. It's just there's fish everywhere, and you walk in they're quite used to people walking, so it's quite an experience. Here we can see Clara and our guide, who are obviously enjoying a well-placed lunch, ready for the second part of the expedition. As we're walking through here, the sunlight coming down through the trees, hitting the water, it's just a fantastic experience. It's just a pity that I wasn't able to bring a photographic camera with me. It would never have survived the trip. So I'll leave you here with Clara and our guide making their way up the river, and I'll join you again later.
Στην αρχαιότητα πίστευαν ότι ο Αχέρον αποτελεί τον ποταμό εκείνο του διάβλου, του οποίου έκανε, σύμφωνα με την αρχαία μυθολογία, ο ψυχοπομπός Ερμής, παραδίδοντας τις ψυχές των νεκρών στο Χάροντα για να καταλήξουν στο βασίλειο του Άδη. Η κάθε ψυχή, περνώντας από το πορθμίο του Χάροντα, έπρεπε να δώσει από έναν οβολό για την μεταφορά, ενώ αξιοσημείωτη είναι η περίπτωση του Μένιππου, τον οποίο αναφέρει ο Λουκιανός ως τον μοναδικό που διέσχισε τον Αχέρον χωρίς να πληρώσει.
Jump in quickly here just to say that it's round about this point now that we start entering quite rocky territory. While the river's reasonably shallow, we've just swum across quite a deep area now, starting to guide us through rocks, and where we're starting to do a little bit of climbing. It's not mountaineering, but it's quite tricky. The rocks are slippery, the river's still running, and we're approaching the end point of our river trek.
Στο δρόμο του ο ποταμός Αχέρον διασταυρωνόταν με τους Πυριφλεγέθοντα και Κοκκιτό στο σημερινό χωριό Μεσοπόταμος, στο σημείο όπου βρίσκεται το αρχαίο νεκρομαντίο του Αχέροντα. Η αρμοδιότητα του νεκρομαντίου του Αχέροντα ήταν διαφορετική από αυτή των Δελφών και της Δοδόνης. Ο σκοπός του δεν ήταν η παροχή χρησμού, αλλά η διευκόλυνση της επικοινωνίας των επισκεπτών με τις ψυχές των νεκρών συγγενών τους. Αχέρον, Κοκκιτό και Πυριφλεγέθον συναποτελούσαν τους τρεις ποταμούς του Άδη.
Again, at this point now, without our guides, no way I would have attempted this ascent. The rocks, while they look quite dry, are incredibly slippery. A little cinematic shot coming up here. I tried this a few times, but this is the one that actually paid off. Again, this is, if I had my photographic camera with me, I would have waited and waited and waited just for the right light. The water at this point is quite fast flowing, and again it was cold. Here we see Clara. This is the end point, the source of the river. And it's one of the traditions that if you immerse yourself in the river of the dead, you'll become immortal, or certainly invincible. The actual source of the river, we put a little action camera in here. It's not that impressive inside. It's a little tiny chamber, and the water itself runs in and over and through, but it's incredibly forceful and incredibly cold at this point because it's coming straight off the mountains. We'll be shooting this in September of 2023, and even though it was incredibly warm outside, the water itself straight off the mountain glaciers, really cold, really refreshing. From this point on, we're ascending up the side of the valley. As you can see, this is some of the area we traversed to actually get to the summit. Stauros explained to us at this point, rather than taking us back along the river the way we came, he would lead us over the top of the mountain and down to the other side. And this is what he did. Really grateful for it, and this added to the experience so much. The ascent is quite steep, and it took us about, from recollection, about an hour maybe to bridge the ridgeline, which we're going to see in a minute. It's a magnificent place, it's a magnificent view, and again, looking through all of this and all of what I've used to read as a child with Greek mythology, etc., it's exactly as I imagined. We was quite lucky. We don't get much of an opportunity to do this type of thing. Certainly without a guide I would never have even known about how to do this. The path itself here is quite easy to navigate, although we are quite high. I don't know how high we're up, but we are quite high, as you can see. And as we're walking, I'm stopping obviously to film. These areas were very, very difficult to descend. Again, there's no footage at all. You're basically walking on the side of a mountain. It's not particularly difficult. You have to be careful, but also you have to know where this is. It's not signposted at all. I believe we could have walked around this area. However, the path was narrowing and it was getting quite, not dangerous, but uncertain underfoot. Because at this point we'd been trekking for most of the day. Certainly, it was heading into afternoon time. This there is the path to Hades, apparently. It's intimidating in the fact that you're still looking down at this valley that we've been walking along for so long, in fact all day. We've climbed up a hillside, well a mountain really, and we're still nowhere near finished. We've still got quite a sharp descent to do, although at this point neither of us knew that fact. But we did realise, I certainly realised, that we were quite high up, still high up, and we hadn't really started to descend yet. And again, at this point now, we are starting to descend. I think both of us after the fact stated that this part of the journey was actually more difficult than walking up the descent. The path was almost non-existent in places, and we really had to be careful of our feet. I was actually more concerned about stopping and videoing some of our areas. It's not particularly steady, but again, the main priority was to not turn an ankle as I'm descending.
told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, 'cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. You told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, 'cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals.